The figure must drive them away from paradise.
From paradise now, get you hence! You'll have to change your residence. From now on, earth will be your home, and far from paradise you'll roam.
The play of Adam is the oldest surviving vernacular drama of medieval Europe. That means the first play that we have written entirely in the language of the common people, in this case a dialect of what we know as French.
It is a play that dramatizes different stories from the Bible, as well as additional information that's not included specifically in the biblical text, but is done so for the sake of bringing together a community around certain ideas and themes, domestic issues, issues dealing with work and agriculture and power and society. For example, in our show, from the very beginning, we see a great emphasis on Eve and her femininity, things about her education, her intelligence, her ability to understand good from evil, right from wrong, and the desire that a woman in this period might have towards attaining greater power and greater influence in her community.
My eyes are clear, my sight intense. I feel like God omnipotent. Whate'er has been, whate'er will be, all this I know, I've mastery.
The sacred history is basically just a vehicle for dealing with whatever the community is trying to deal with. It's not an accident that this play is coming in the middle of the 12th century. It's a time in European history where there's a population explosion. New towns are cropping up all over medieval Europe. Trade routes are connecting towns. And so the play's staging of, for example, the relationship between Adam and Eve really becomes a relationship about what is women's role in this new world, but also men's crisis of masculinity. Like, you know, I can't have my wife having, you know, agency and power because that will take away from my own power in the society. So what the audience is seeing when they come to see the play of Adam is a play about a story that they know, but it also becomes a story about their lives and the kind of really tough ethical, moral, personal choices that they're facing in this world. Issues of generosity and citizenship and who is responsible for supporting the needy people in society. You know, it's really kind of amazing how, again, very specific to the 12th century, but very timeless and also, once again, fascinatingly relevant for our own day.
I'll give a lamb, the best and from the fairest dam that I can find within the fold. I'll offer that, I'll not withhold.
Medieval theater was looking to take those stories that people already know and make them big and lifelike and exciting for their audiences who were illiterate, actually couldn't read the Bible, so this was their way to learn the Bible. So it was fun to take what we've learned about contemporary theater and switch it and make it big and exciting and like a big story the whole time.
It's very expressive with the arms and gestures, and you know, and how we're trained. It's like that's indicating, so don't do that, you know. But how they used to do it, it was very expressive, and everything was kind of grand, and so just letting go, to be able to take on that time and be in that period was kind of freeing.
It's meeting the actors where they are in terms of how do they approach performance, but what do I need them to do for the sake of our performance, and connecting to the aspects of this play that are more external, more about the community and the immediacy of the audience that's in front of us. So how do we take those internal processes and then work them out of the body, out of the mouth, out of the expression, out of the gesture, so that it becomes a larger piece that encapsulates not only the performer and the person that they're engaging with in that moment of the play, but also inviting the audience in so that they never feel like they are outside of that bubble, that they are very much implicated in that dramatic action.
No, I'm not ready to go. But I'm just warming up. I'm warming up the crowd. They're so fun. Okay, don't forget about me.
The language of the play is in French, as I mentioned. And it's also in rhyming couplets and quatrains. So it has a very kind of charming, sing-songy rhyme scheme. The stage directions of the play are in Latin, however. And the reason for that is not clear. I suspect that it's because the play is trying to do something really edgy and different with the biblical story. The French of the play is very slangy. And I tried to really capture that in my translation. And I think having the stage directions in Latin and having liturgical chant in Latin throughout the play, I think was a way for the playwright to give the play a kind of gravitas and respectability that it might have lacked if it had just the French.
From your own side, I made her too. So she's not strange, she's part of you. So govern her with your reason. Between you be there no treason, but greatest love and care profound, for that should be the marriage bound.
I was like, what can be better than Times Square and seeing New York City? And then we walk into the cloisters and I go, oh, this.
So the Met Cloisters is the medieval branch of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. It's a complex of buildings that were built in the late 1920s. The complex of buildings are whole pieces of medieval churches that were taken down bit by bit and transported to the United States.
There were so many points around the cloister that we could point to that aided in the story. Like there was Jesus on the cross over here. Like, you know, there were the three wise men over here. Like, you know, in the apse there was this beautiful, like, you know, mural of Madonna and Child. Like, you know, it was a fresco, I think, but like it was gorgeous. And like all of that aided in the storytelling.
I mean, this is actually from the century that we're playing the play, we're doing the play. It was very spiritual, you know. It almost made us feel like we were in a time machine in some kind of way. But seeing all the artifacts, and that also helped me on how these actors back in this, you know, in the century, how they did these performances and how it was a big deal.
The play itself asks for specific chants. These chants are found in antiphonary, which are collections of antiphons all over Europe. And the music that I ended up creating is more or less just copying some of the antiphons and reducing them in size so that I adjusted them to the lyrics that Carol gave me because she translated them into English. But there was a known corpus of music.
And he breathed in his face the breath of his own living soul.
Our presumption is that this piece might have been done in a number of places, and wherever they went, to whichever cathedral or church, there would have been a choir there that would have been able to replicate these same chants.
The chants that we're doing are all kind of biblical commentary on what has just happened in the action. So it's kind of slows everything down a little bit and really allows us to feel the kind of drama in the situation that's happened.
The instrumental music, I think, helps provide a very nice atmosphere for the show. Trying to put yourself back in the Middle Ages is not an easy thing to do as a modern person. And so if we can provide a sound world, I think that helps people get into the mindset and the period.
When you first hear like medieval drama, you go, oh, like, okay, it's gonna be long and stingy and boring. And then you walk in and people have come up to me and said, that was so funny. Medieval drama can be funny or serious, or they tell the same stories that we tell now.
Cain, where's your brother? Where's Abel? Have you begun now to rebel? Against me you begin to strive. Show me your brother is alive.
Very early on, one of the decisions that we made was that we don't want this to be a museum piece. Despite the fact that we're going to present it in a museum and then also bring it to a church as well, we don't want it to feel stiff, turgid, or antique. We want it to feel alive and exciting and full of relevance for today's world and for today's audiences. So it's a difficult balancing act between finding things that capture that feel, that tone, that sense of the Middle Ages, but doing it in such a way that it doesn't distance itself from what we're trying to say for our audiences that are sitting in front of us here in 2016.
What's truly authentic about medieval drama is that medieval drama is always taking place in the here and now. The people in the 12th century who came to see the play of Adam saw Adam and Eve dressed up like them. You know, there wasn't this historical distancing. And so, so a truly authentic production of the medieval play wouldn't even have medieval costumes. It would have people just being contemporary with one another. So for me, that's the real authenticity, is to remind people that these people were every bit as intelligent, complex, psychologically rich as we are. And so again, a truly authentic production shows people that, and I really think we've done that.